Hi there, welcome to this live premiere. Feel free to share your thoughts and opinions down below in the comments section. And for those that are currently here live, welcome. Share your thoughts in the live chat box. Today, I just want to share with you a key discussion conversation to do with the rise and popularity of live streaming, such as on YouTube, TikTok, when it comes to varying communities and themes such as the true crime scene, missing person cases. Why is it so popular? Why do so many people go down that route of live streaming compared to the original concept of recording videos and then simply uploading them online? I'll be also sharing it from my point of view and experience of what I've been involved with or what I've seen, good or bad, and how I do things myself. So feel free to listen in if you want, or as much as you want, and we'll see where this goes. If you've got any disagreements or agreements, list them down below. You'll also find a pinned comment by me under this video with some additional links, so feel free to check them out when you get time. And if you want to listen into the latest news and analysis of Riley Strain and the further strangeness when it comes to the fraternity brothers, well, that was done earlier today. Top right corner of the screen, click on the eye symbol up there. You'll be able to find it. You'll be able to catch up on it when you have time. Okay, so what I can talk about today can be based on what I've seen and witnessed myself, because live streaming can occur in many different ways and places. Live streaming on, I would say, Facebook at times, live streaming on TikTok, of course, live streaming on Twitter. I've never really seen that, I'll be honest with you. Live streaming on YouTube, more nowadays. Live streaming on Twitch, of course, because that's what the platform is. Live streaming. That's really what it is all about. But the likes of YouTube, which was originally built back in 2006, or came out in 2006, and it was just a video sharing platform where people uploaded videos, short length, medium length, random stuff, right? It was better back then, probably. Maybe not as many features or tools, but it was a bit more open, creative, and not as much censorship or BS guidelines, right? And you had a range of different creators and popular stuff going on. It was probably a more simple time. But then as time went on, besides the typical videos you could upload, live streaming came about eventually. And then at a later point, live streaming on mobile devices. So besides doing it from the computer, okay? But why is it so popular now, and really on any platform which is either built for it or has added the feature at some point, right? Those platforms which have added the feature with time have clearly identified that there is a market for it and there is a level of success from it, and it can generate interest, it can generate benefits towards the platform itself that runs it, and maybe add adverts on and all that bits and bobs in the background. But how does it benefit the creator or a creator to do a live stream? How does it benefit the general public who participate in chatting or watching? Now, the interesting thing is, if you are currently here watching this live premiere, you may be wondering, is this a live stream? Now, there'll be a range of people that will probably already know by now. I know, I know there's only going to be about 12, pushing it 15 people watching this video. As small as that group of people is, majority of those people, if not all, probably all are very familiar with my channel and how I do things, but I'm just going to explain it now for those that may watch later who have never seen me before. If people can, stick around to actually watch, that would be helpful as well. But, the videos that I do are pre-recorded. So like the original YouTube, you record a video, you may edit it, then you upload it onto YouTube, then anyone and everyone can watch it. Normally in that situation there'd be no live stream, no live chat, and no live response from the creator. In this case, with a live premiere, basically I'm uploading a pre-recorded video, I'm setting a schedule for when it releases publicly, and there's a live countdown timer with a live chat. So when it does air for the first time on YouTube, everybody can watch it together and chat along in the chat box. Once that video has ended, it ends and remains as a normal video from there on then. It stays and it's stored in the video tab section of one's channel, so it's easy to find. But if you do a live stream, what's that all about? Well, a live stream is basically a real-time video recording where people in a live chat can react and talk and share comments and thoughts, but the actual person in the video, recording, can actually see those comments and respond back at the time, because it's all real time, no pre-recording. Okay, so like when you get live TV, live shows, it's the same thing. Okay, it's just on a platform online digitally. So that's why in my videos I don't respond back to the live chat, because at the time of when I'm doing my pre-recorded videos, there is no live chat at all. But when my video does air live publicly for the first time and I'm watching it back myself, that's when I can then type and leave comments and responses if I want to, and if there needs to be, right? So because of that, it kind of opens up different possibilities. Being able to create a polished, edited video with a good flow, and it can be informative and interesting, but I'm not sidetracked or distracted by the live chat. But with it being a live premiere, I'm not completely neglecting it, because I can always respond back to it afterwards when I'm watching it, just like everyone else is. So it's probably the best of both worlds, right? And when it comes to a live stream, the cons of doing it is, whilst it could be live and everybody feels all together and it brings in a range of different people, in the long term, they just don't do well successfully. Live streams do well in the moment, but long term fail, because people can't be bothered rewatching live streams, because they tend to be long, tend to be drawn out, and it's hard to catch up for context, because you've got to track the live chat and the video itself to understand what's being talked about, what's being referenced, and what's being answered as for a question. So there's more to do. When you're there in the moment, you can follow it a bit more easily. But when you're on catch up, it's more difficult. And because it lasts so long, it might get a little bit boring for you. That's why when you're in the moment during the live stream present whilst it's live, regardless of how long it goes on for, you've got an audience to chat with, people to hang out with. It's a distraction from how long that video lasts for. In a live stream format of a long format video, if people are there watching live, they're more likely to watch that from start to finish, even if it's 5 hours long, compared to a pre-recorded video where there's no live atmosphere and people will drop off and lose interest because they've got no one to talk to, no one to react with. So you can see why live streaming is popular for when you're in the moment compared to a pre-recorded video. But as I've always said, live premieres, you get the best of both worlds, but not enough people seem to acknowledge it, which I'm not complaining about. I'll stick with what I'm doing and what works, or at least what has worked in the past. Just as a heads up, if you do a pre-recorded video, a standard format one, does it perform better than a live premiere video? I wouldn't say there's any negative effect. They both equally do well depending on what they are individually as a topic subject and the quality of it individually, right? They can do well either way. But live streams don't, as I've already explained. Long term, they don't. People lose interest. And in addition, when a live stream ends, it does not end up in the video tab section. That's why lots of people don't see those videos and don't catch up on them. If you want to catch up on a live stream, you got to click on the live stream tab on a person's channel, also known as live. It's on the right hand side next to shorts, okay? So that's why not everybody catches up or watches on replay with live streams, right? So there are pros, but there's more so cons with them, and that's why I don't do it. The additional cons to why I don't bother doing live streams is because I would have to do it late at night compared to doing a pre-recorded video, then setting it live as a premiere for later on in the night when the time zone aligns with everyone, right? Because when my live premiere airs, I can just sit there and watch. But if I'm doing a live stream, I have to do a video in that moment late on at night, which then impacts my sleep, because take in mind the UK is ahead of the US. So obviously for the timing to align, when people in the US have free time to watch and consume content, I would have to do my videos at a later point in the day when it's earlier for them enough to watch, but too late for me. So it's not worth it. It's not worth it on one's decline of health. That's why I don't do it really that often. And in addition, I find that as funny as it can be, if you're doing some serious topics, the live chat can get distracting on screen, right? So I end up ruining my flow of what I was talking about. Whereas here, this pre-recorded one, there's no distraction, so I can keep on going and it's fine. The other factor to consider is, if I was to do a live stream on my phone, like I have done previously, the moment I close the YouTube app down, the live stream either ends or it goes on pause. And it will only load back up if I load the app on YouTube on my phone, and then it will resume. But sometimes if I click the wrong button, it actually kicks me out of my own live stream. So my live stream is ongoing, but I can't join back. So it's in an endless loop. I know, right? It's silly. But there's restrictions, limitations. Now, you could do it on the computer, and I think that could work possibly. But it's the thing, like with mobile, it records through your camera, front facing or the back camera. It does not record the screen, unlike if you was on StreamYard, but more so on desktop. I think live streaming is more practical and functional when you're on desktop, but the thing is, where it's situated, it's not in a convenient place to do so, okay? And as I said, I just don't like the style and format of it. I want it a bit more polished. I want to be able to edit things out, whether there's noise or distraction or slip-ups or spaz-outs. I want to be able to clear that up so it doesn't deter from the, the original thing, what we're looking at or talking about, right? I think live streams can be unintentionally disruptive, and the flow can be lost at times, and I think the final product isn't as good in quality as if you had a finished product as a pre-recorded video where you can actually edit stuff out and have the time to do so. So they're the reasons behind it all. Yet despite all of that, and despite it might not be to my liking or it doesn't work for me, it does work for many other people out there, as said, with the true crime community, missing people cases. But why? Why is that the case? I think it's because when it's a live stream, people can report news as soon as possible. As a pre-recorded video, yeah, you can share some news, a finding, breaking news, but by the time you've uploaded it, edited the video, set it public, and even as a live premiere, by then maybe the news has already come about elsewhere, so it's no longer breaking news. Yeah, it's a rat race, but as I've learned just recently, even if I'm the first one there, first come, first serve, it means nothing. Even if I do a standard video but I upload it as soon as possible, it makes no difference. If there is a popularity contest, because obviously there are bigger channels, creators out there, they can report the same exact thing 2 days, 5 days later, and get more views than if someone like me reported on it 5 minutes from when it actually happened. So it's meaningless, okay, between live streaming in the moment and just reporting on a case, a video in normal format. It's a popularity contest at the end of the day. And as well, with live streams, there seems to be a level of competition where people are doing live streams at the same time as one another. And if you're connected with different communities, sometimes out there in the YouTube streets, people have a go at one another for starting at the same time and doing their program and show. So then audience members are like, oh, we can only choose one or the other. Oh, we'll go over here, but then the other person misses out. So that competition, whereas, the videos that I do, people can watch them whenever they want, and that's what they do. Right? And I guess the only lucky thing is with me, with the time zone difference, I can get away from the competition of everyone else. Even if I am arguably a bit behind, I'm doing it in my own time and there's no one else getting in the way. But when you get these joint communities out there and they're like are you going first or am I? But then they end up doing it at the same time. That can cause inattention and unnecessary conflict and drama. The beginning of a downfall there, which is a completely different topic, but I just thought to slide it in there briefly again. But I can understand that live streaming by a regular individual or a wannabe media person can spark the interest of the general public that may want to listen on in for the latest and daily scoop and the latest breaking news, because maybe at times the general public could report in on stuff quicker than the official news people, depending how close an individual may be. Someone like JLR that gets around a lot and covers a range of different cases and is boots on ground will see it directly, witness it at the time of it happening, and also live stream it so everybody sees in real time. So it's real-time news, but done on a semi-amateur basis because it's not high-end news broadcasts as you would expect. It's by a member of the general public, let's put it like that, and a range of people do it. But also a range of other people do live streams from wherever they may live or are currently at. So it doesn't always have to be boots on ground, but there's different preferred methods by different people. I think those that are boots on ground prefer to do live stream coverage because it's there in the moment and it's ongoing. So people can witness it the same way as the person in real life is. So it creates a better effect on the audience. They feel like they're there with it, they're following the story as they go along, they're a part of the journey in witnessing what's happening. So I get that. It's like a magnetizing effect. It's of people's interest. People don't want to just hear about the news. They want to see it for themselves. They want to see the proof, to see the evidence and the true actions going on. You can look at a photo here and there, but to look at actual footage, that's what does it for people, right? And, people could throw it back and say, well, why don't you do that? Well, copyright. I don't trust YouTube. I don't trust anything. I got to be very careful. I'm just an unlucky person when it comes to this platform. Even news reports I'm a little bit skeptical of. Court proceedings, court videos, I really wouldn't trust that. Because what you see is, like the true crime area and onwards, even when a scene of a crime has gone through, an investigation has been somewhat solved and the person's been taken in and charged, and then they go through the trials, the court process, and people do live streams that way, real-time live streams or later live streams after the court proceedings, and then rewatch the whole show, rewatch all the news programs. And it's like a watch-along party, a reaction channel, right? Normally, when you get reaction videos, people react to comedy, people react to funny videos and music videos, people react to fails, try not to laugh, try not to smile. Those type of videos, compilations, tend to be pre-recorded videos. But when it comes to the true crime aspect, when it came to the Johnny Depp Amber Heard court process, the trials, all that type of stuff, as it's ongoing or happening in real time, people online will do a live stream watching and reacting to it, showing their thoughts, opinions, and maybe even analysing it if they're capable. And then the audience will watch along and listen in. But at the end of the day, something like that, where a person is watching a video, pausing, stopping and starting and sharing their thoughts, whilst possibly answering some questions from the live chat, is really no different to what I do, where I do a pre-recorded video, I give a summary, analysis, breakdown, and go further by looking at videos or a photo, giving my thoughts, and then if questions need to be asked, well, I can respond back to it in the live chat during the live premiere. So whilst I'm doing everything in the video, I can divert my attention to all the comments in the chat without being distracted from the video, because they're two separate things and done at two separate times. Much more efficient than a live stream where it's all done in one go and it's a juggling act. Now, I've seen it where someone's doing a live stream and they're like, oh, what have we got here? We've got some news here. Oh, sorry, what was that comment? What was that question? Oh, looking clueless in the screen. Oh, got to answer this, answer that. Oh, where was I now? You see, it's just a bit muddled, a bit all over the place. Now, people probably like that chaos because it feels like it's literally a live reaction. People want to talk with one another. People actually want to communicate, even if it is through a screen. It's like a one-way video call, and that's why some people like that, so they get a bit closer to the creator. and develop some kind of rapport. So that's why some people connect there on a certain emotional basis. And to connect with the case as well, they put both together and it's the best of both worlds. But you know, as I said, I think there's still cons with live streaming. Things can go wrong. There can be disruptions. If there was a fire or if there was a break-in, it would be captured on camera, which sometimes may not always be a bad thing, but at the same time, it could be a bit unnecessary depending what the situation is. You've seen it on many videos, compilations, live streams gone wrong, things caught on camera during live streams, embarrassing moments. You really want that, right? It could leave a scar. It could leave a permanent reminder on you, depending on what's happened. So there's that. And I just think it's really overrated, to be honest, right? So a person sits there, right? They just simply click record, live stream, wait for people to join into the chat, respond back when they can or when they want, answer some questions, read some comments out. It's basically the audience doing most of the work, right? I found that when I was doing the live streams, just testing, messing about, I was stood or sat there thinking, what the hell do I say? What is there to talk about? Not really much. Not really. But then because of the people interacting in the chat, that just opened up new conversations and discussions. But what that basically does, it makes it easier for the creator, which probably isn't a bad thing. It opens up new conversations and discussions, but it just goes to show it's a bit lazy. Live streaming, it can be a lazy approach because it's relying on the audience or the guest, the people on panel, to chip in with thoughts and ideas. Whereas if you do it as a finished product, pre-recorded video, all that work and effort was done by you, and then the audience can simply sit back, watch, and relax. How it should be, how it has originally been on YouTube and how it should remain. I think live streaming is a bit cancerous and it has taken over. Some people in the background have highlighted that during live streams, it leads to more toxicity and cancer. And I can understand that from different perspectives, which we'll get to very shortly, okay? But to refer back to, someone sits there, hits record, talks, ums and ahs, and maybe looks at a video here, then goes on an article there, plays another video. It's just so lazy. It's so lazy. No joke. I mean, you could have a news program, you could have an interview, and it's for over 1 hour long, and then all that person does is sit there and basically watches the entire video through whilst they just sat there leaning in at the screen and every now and then talking or adding some points in. It just seems a little bit flat. I know it's a watch along. I know you get those football live stream watch alongs. All I would say is, during those moments, those football live stream watch-alongs, the only reason why it's okay that is because football, actual football in the UK, isn't on TV for everyone. Okay, you need to pay for this, you need to pay for that. Maybe not everyone has that or pays for it, so they can't access it, they can't watch football. So the next thing is to listen to football on the radio, but that can be boring. So if you watch a live stream watch-along on YouTube, let's say, you might not see the football, but you see the reactions, the discussions, the talks from the actual person watching it whilst reacting and live streaming their reaction and talking it through with visuals and overlays on the screen where it can be interactional and it explains what's going on in the game, right? So as an alternative to radio, you can listen in on YouTube, right? But when it comes to true crime and doing research, you've got the choice of you either go and look at it yourself in your own time, or you do it for a live stream by watching someone sat on their ass, just simply there like a mannequin. You get what I'm saying? I do think that live streaming and true crime communities in general are vastly dominated by females. I don't know why. Maybe they've just got more interest in crime and cases and missing people. But besides that observation, which is fairly valid when it comes to the type of people, it's mix, match, a range of different people in general. But you always get the characters that show up, and it tends to be audience members. One thing I do want to highlight, where it ties in with the characters, audience members, or just the actions and decisions by the creators out there, when it comes to live streams, one thing that comes along with it is mods, where you can add moderators that will moderate the chat and who comes and goes, the flow of it. So if anything inappropriate is said, or if the moderators feel offended by something or someone says, they can block them, they can time them out, they can take control, power can get to their head, it can lead to further problems and trouble. From my experience elsewhere, I've seen it, I've witnessed it. I don't have mods here because it's not needed. I, to an extent, trust people enough to act appropriately or as best as they can, and it's worked. It's mainly been healthy, so there's no problem there. For other channels out there to have moderators, it would highlight a level of lack of control and lack of trust within the humans that actually watch. Now, I understand if you've got a live stream and you've got over 1,000, 2,000 people watching, you might need to keep it under control unless it's a smaller range of people. If it's a tight-knit, gated community, maybe you wouldn't need moderators, right? When you add moderators, it's because things are getting out of control. But moderators themselves, they have power. And because it's been assigned to them, they can use it for the right reasons or the wrong. And if they do it for the wrong, that can lead to trouble. It can lead to the channel backfiring. It can lead to the creator that appointed these moderators as under fire and questioned for their decisions and choices, and their credibility can go down the drain, and people can lose interest and people can walk away, and it can have a chain effect. That's already happened elsewhere during live streams, panels and call-ins. It's not worth it, right? I said live streaming can be a person reacting or watching or talking or documenting ongoing breaking news, and then there's an audience. Or same thing, and with additional factors of a guest and people showing up on panel, but that tends not to be through YouTube live streaming, but more so through StreamYard. Now the problem is with StreamYard, you have to pay for it, monthly or yearly. I think it's a complete rip-off and a load of bollocks, because at the end of the day, on YouTube, you can do live streaming free of charge once you get past a certain milestone. That's it, it's free. Now, it might be limited. You might not be able to show things on screen and do this and that, but, you know, it's a start. But I think even on TikTok, it's free of charge, right? Okay, you can't open up different programs on the screen, but you can invite different people onto your panel. And you can do duels with one another if you want to. So you don't have to pay there. There might be requirements, you know, certain level of followers, likes, views, but you can get that with time. But StreamYard, you have to pay for it. There might be a free version, but it's very limited. Now, have I ever used StreamYard? Only once, when I did some live stream interview when I was a guest on someone else's show, casual conversations with Gloria and Eileen regarding the Kenny Veach missing person case. Now, at the time, I did it because I thought, well, I guess why not, just try it, and it was okay. But I had a lot of notes, just bullet points, because I've never done it before. I've never done a video call before, never done a call online. If you exclude hanging out with the odd friend on Xbox through party chat, but an actual video call where you see people's faces and I'm talking to strangers for the first time, never done that before until that moment. So I decided to have notes. So I had everything there at my disposal. And whilst at the time I may have been regarded as an expert on that case, you know, I wouldn't have been able to talk about it freely and openly without like bullet points. And because it was questions and answers, I needed to tick the bullet points off the list if I've already answered those questions to, you know, linking on with the points I've mentioned on the sheet of paper. So I didn't get muddled or mixed. So it was under control there. I mean, the slight drawbacks was I had to do it on mobile device because I couldn't do it elsewhere. And nowadays, because back then, luckily, I had a different device which you could use the headset, but because of going on to Apple now, Apple don't have normal headsets which you can connect. It's a load of bollocks, right? So I wouldn't be able to do it now anyway. Well, I could talk through the camera speaker, but I don't know how good that would be. Plus, I would hear it through it as well. I would like to hear it in my ears. If you're having a conversation online with someone, it's better to have headphones on so only you can hear it and it's in your ears. You can focus on it and listen to the conversation and questions. If you don't have that, the experience isn't quite there, right? But in general, I think a live stream of where you're just doing it by yourself, it can feel like you're doing a normal video. But you have to be consciously aware that whatever you say or do in that moment, everybody can see. If you say the wrong word, if you crack a bad joke, if you do something bad, if something bad happens in the background, you could be cancelled just like that. But if any of that bad stuff did happen in a pre-recorded video, you got the option to cut it out afterwards, right? Now, with live streams, call-ins and panels elsewhere, people have come on in and basically pretended to be someone, showed up, showed their true self and an inappropriate video or image. And then it's led to the original channel hosting that live stream to cut the live stream, to end it, and even delete the video. A waste of time, right? So you got to be careful who you trust online. And with live stream panels and guests, you have to have trust within people. Because if you don't, then you can't do it. And if you're cautious or wary of people, but you still allow them on, you could get attacked for it and be on the receiving end of it indirectly. Doesn't end well, not always, right? So there are risks with doing live streams. As interactional as it may be, and it might benefit the audience, it might even benefit you, there's risk. Now, to be honest, and just being honest, okay, when it comes to true crime and reporting on news or reacting to it, many channels will do live streams because it opens up the opportunity of super chats, super stickers, gifted memberships, and people joining as members on channels. And it also provides the creator and the channel to provide links to do that type of stuff. Now, previously when super chats and super thanks and membership was introduced, there was no join button, or there was no buttons to, you know, would you call it donate or gift? Like gift money to the channel before live. You know, if you didn't, in the past, if you didn't do a live stream, there was no option to give a super chat or super sticker. But with time, they added it in where if you weren't there to watch the live stream, and if you were watching the video and catch up a day or two later, there was buttons down below with the money icon to click on, and then you could show support to the channel. So you weren't going to miss out. And ever since in recent time, they've also added that feature on shorts videos. I saw it in recent time where a person called Ollie Talks Airsoft, some guy from the UK, 40 years of age or so, did a video a few months ago saying he's been diagnosed with bowel cancer and he's only got so long left and he needs treatment and help. It was a normal video, right? But it had the option to show support to the channel. And you went down to the comment section and there was constant threads of just colour rainbows, pure rainbows of super chats and super stickers. $100, $200, $50, 5 lots of $25 super chats. It was endless. It was crazy to see, but obviously because of the occasion and what was going on, people showing support and sympathy towards the person suffering, you'd expect it. But you see the ways and things around it. But at a time when that wasn't available, live streaming was the way to go. Just like with TikTok, live streaming, people can send in little stickers and emojis and that gives you money or something. So when people do like interactional based live streams, if you click on this emoji, I'll respond back, I'll make a sound, like a soundboard, an interactional soundboard live stream in which a creator gets paid for saying or doing something, kind of like that. With YouTube, a person doing a live stream can be distributing news or doing a topic, and people may show support along the way at any point or time. It's not expected, but welcomed and appreciated whenever it does happen. And you see people give those shout outs and those reactions to that level of support. So it's like give and take and vice versa. Now, when it comes to a live premiere, you can always still react there to super chats. If you're there present during the video, you can always respond back in the comments and say thank you. Now, in recent time, they've added the update where you can actually like and heart people's super chat comments in the live chat box. It gives you the option to give the thumbs up as a form of acknowledgement, further acknowledgement. So as time goes on, YouTube is adding small little features here and there which boost that interaction and boost the support and the opportunities to do so, and then allows the creators to respond back to them too, just like how they've added in comments where you can respond back to comments through a direct YouTube short video, which will display the comment in the top right bottom corner of the screen on top of your video whilst you're talking or responding back to it. Something very similar to what TikTok has done in the past. So with time, there are new features and things evolving, right? So even if live streaming is the next trending stuff and it just goes on and on and on, and there's bandwagons and sheeple, you won't be left behind if you do normal videos or live premieres, right? And me personally, just in general, I prefer to do standard videos or live premieres because, you know, it just works. It works. There's no need to change it, to be honest. Now, I know you get those bits of mystery where during a live stream, someone could come on in, a key person, and answer questions or help in a case, like a family member, a friend, or a witness. Who knows? Things can happen, right? Yeah, there's been help, there's been leads through live streams and things going on. Same's happened in live premieres. I've witnessed it myself when I've covered the Kenny Veach case, when I've covered the Dylan Rounds case, Christine Passay Parker missing person case. Key people have come on in, friends, family members, reached out, answered questions. Simple. Without any disruption, without any over talking, it was all done there and it worked very well. So once again, there is proof that there are alternatives and they work just as well, if not better, than live streaming. But due to how popular live streaming is nowadays, being there in the moment to witness it live is an attracting feature in the eyes of the public. It is what it is. Maybe with time, it may not be as popular. It might go downhill and it might revert back to something else. But yeah, things can happen. I don't know if there's anything else to highlight or acknowledge. I guess I'll just briefly talk about something else on the sideline from personal experience. In recent time, I have been doing experiments, not live streams, but just experiments with other cases and other videos, because, you know, some people may want to see a different case besides the regular ones. And arguably speaking, from how it looks statistically, it was a complete failure. Okay, you look at the Riley Strain videos, as important as they are, you're only getting about 100 to 200 views. And I've got 11,500 subscribers. Honestly, that's pathetic and embarrassing on me and just in general in life. You know, ideally, you'd be looking at the stats and think, well, if there's 11,500 people subscribed, then there should at least be half that amount watching the videos. But no, that's not the case. In an ideal world, it could be, but we're talking about reality. But to see such a drop-off in people watching, it just goes to show, and it puts my point right all this time, that I stick with what I cover, even if people find it boring. Because the moment I'm not advised, but there's a suggestion to move on to something else, as soon as I do so, a range of people in the background that may be in support of it, when they get what they want, they don't bother watching. How fucking stupid is that? It's just fucking low IQ. It's stupid, to be honest. You know, obviously the experiment could be at some point I do a Kenny Veach video, and obviously that should do well because my channel was built up from that case. But this is the thing, whilst people can tell me after, well, just do what you do well at, just do what you've always done. But back then, yeah. And then later, advised to cover other stuff. I know you can't please everyone, but try other things. And that's what I did. Tried other things, didn't work. So I refer back to the original. But I don't want to be in a situation, as silly as it sounds, I don't want to be in a situation where I rely on one case. Because if you relied on just one case, that sounds desperate. It sounds unnatural. And what does it lead to if you get to a dead end? Nothing. What do you do if the case is solved? Oh, you move on to something else and then begin the process of failure? Isn't it not best to try things in between to see if anything works? And then if it does, you've always got something to rotate on. I mean, that's what happened with Dylan Rounds. Hit the nail on the head there. Interesting case. A lot to it. Wide range of people coming on in, showing support in different ways. All good. Kenny Veach, kind of like the booster on 2020 onwards with the channel. So those work, but other cases don't. I'm just interested as to why they don't work. I saw a funny comment recently where someone was saying, well, it is what it is because you're boring, your videos are boring. Now, at the end of the day, for a person to think that way and claim that it's boring, well, if you found something boring, normally you would avoid it, you would walk away from it. Yet you've come here and spent time telling me what the situation is. So it can't be that boring for a person to type it in and explain the situation. They've contradicted their position like many humans do in life. It's pretty pathetic, but it is what it is, right? And it's the thing, there's always a big level of silence. If there was a massive outcry, do this or do that, and if you don't, people walk, okay? But that's never been the case here. So it's really a guessing game, right? Even though they say the customer is always right, well, the customer can't expect things to get better if they themselves don't give some form of feedback, right? When it's welcomed, when it's, fair. But in between, I'll cover different cases when I can and when I want to, and if it works, good. I'll do my best in covering them, keeping them alive, spreading awareness, and picking up on stuff which no one else would ever pick up on, right? Maybe the Riley Strain case I joined in a bit too late, but this is the thing. I'm reporting on breaking news, or I'm sharing my thoughts on it in a way, and I'm applying it to material. Hardly anyone watches, but with the Dylan Rounds case, I reported on stuff which was 4 to 6 months old news because I had a rotation of things I was looking at, right? I was 4 to 6 months late on certain topics and people, and yet people watched it. So I don't know what's going on. It's interesting because I actually did a video in recent time saying the true crime community, or no one talks about this within the true crime community. It was a video talking about the dark side and the reality of cases and situations with people, audience members and creators. I went into depth, I revealed interesting points which no one normally talks about, right? It got like 300 views, pretty poor, but when looking at the impressions, that video was presented to over 14,000 people. And only 300 people clicked on that video to watch. So obviously the discussion and topic wasn't of interest to the majority of humans out there, or maybe the thumbnail, the title wasn't good enough to those people. But I said, it's luck of the draw, it can be a lottery-based system. The problem is with YouTube and doing certain videos and activities and themes, there's no consistency. One video can do well, the other one can fail hard. What do you do? Where do you go? Because honestly, if you're going to cover a case or some breaking news and only 2 people watch out the whole world, it really is a waste of time. Now you can say, shout out and you can appreciate the 2 people in this entire world that watch, but if your aim is to spread awareness and to keep a case alive, you're not meeting those goals. So it's a complete waste of time. And whereas people can say, what? Are you going to prioritize this before a case? You're a dark, evil person. Just take into consideration, as long as there are investigators and police and authorities working on the case from the inside, that's what matters the most. Moments, cases, times where no one's covering it and everyone's given up, yeah, maybe someone needs to step on in, like a YouTuber or a TikToker, within the right reason, and try, at least. I agree with that. But if people are already assigned to a case, what more can you do? And if it's failing or not working out, then you just move on to something else or try something else that can work. It's like process of elimination. That's all it really is. And more things won't work than that do. So who knows what will be the next big case, or what will be the next case that I can cover and it can perform well too. Because when we look back at what's worked, the Kenny Veach case ongoing, it works. Dylan Rounds case, I revived it, surprisingly. It was dying down on my channel. Then I started covering it again in 2024 and it was revived all of a sudden. Hallelujah. So that was a shock, but it worked. The hobo shoestring did work, but that's only because it was a high-profile individual and there was a medium-sized community on YouTube and not many people covering the case in depth, unlike me. So communities from that person came here, so that's the reason why that worked. What else was there? Christine Passay Parker, very interesting case. I had no problems with covering it. I was aware that not many people were watching along, so it was disheartening, it was disappointing, but because I was interested in the case, it didn't bother me. Covering the case was of more importance than the statistics, because I was interested in the case and I wanted to make videos on it within the right reason, because I was able to and I could use the maps. And when people did join on in early on, the friends and family came on in and assisted in the live chat, so that was all good. But I think the reason why the odd video did well there was simply because it was shared on Facebook, the actual Facebook page of the missing person, so that's how people gathered. So basically people who already knew about the case were coming on over to my video. Now the goal and aim is to bring strangers in who may have never heard about the case, and then they'll learn that way. So then you're bringing in a literal new audience. Now that wasn't quite achieved there, right? I said Riley Strain case, it didn't really work out. The Aidan Clune case really didn't work out. You look back at my videos, it just didn't work. You look at the Idaho 4 case, it just didn't work. I did one video some months ago and it got, what, 20,000 views? Shocked. I was shocked. Wasn't expecting it. Not at all. Even the actual live premiere, over 100 people were watching. I don't understand. You know, how did I hit the nail on the head? I was simply doing a video saying, here's a blurred image, here's another blurred image, what's going on? And yet so many people were so interested in it. And yet, the case has been ongoing for what, over 2 years? And I joined in late and covered it, yet it hit the nail on the head and performed well. It spread awareness and questioning. But then, weeks or a month before that, I did a video saying, here's the only uncensored photo of the murder house. Why is it not blurred here, but it is everywhere else? Hardly anyone watched it, and yet that was an important video. When I did the video of strange finding, shoes on the Powerhead overhead line, is that to do with a trap house? Is it to do with drug dealing? Is it to do with a drop-off point? Could that tie in with wrong place, wrong time with the students? Are the students using certain drug dealers, or friends of friends using them, and then it ties in with the murder house and a cross lines, blurred lines, collateral damage, right? Visual storytelling, hard-hitting, pretty interesting. Hardly anyone watched. Yet the video before it, just looking at, ooh, there's a blurred image here, ooh, there's a blurred shape there, that did better. But it shouldn't have done. See, here's the thing. I've done videos with time, and some of them aren't deserving of that many views, but then other videos where I felt like they are deserving of them, didn't. It's random. And because it's random, and because there's no consistency, it's hard to gauge what works and what doesn't, what case to cover and what case not to. Arguably, at times, some cases which are already established and ongoing, if they're saturated by true crimers, big channels, there's competition. You're a little mouse. You're a small fish in an ocean. It's not going to work. You need to find something which isn't covered as much, but is of interest to attract people in and create a new audience or a new community in that area. It's not always that easy. Now, Watch Your Crazy mentioned something about a case in Texas. Maybe I can take a look at that. Maybe, if possible. Of course, the best scenario would be find a case, it's not being covered, it's a fresh one, there's a material to work with, there's CCTV footage, and you're able to pick up on stuff no one else does. That's the perfect recipe for truth, perspective, new leads possibly, and interest forming, and then keeping that case alive and then spreading awareness on it so more people learn about it, and it could get helped, it could get sold by others out there, influenced in the right way. So, you know, live streaming or not, it doesn't matter. Some things work, some things don't. When I've done live streams, not many people watched, and I don't expect people to watch because it's just me stood there talking, right? If I did a live stream on the computer talking about a case, could be different. But I said, no guarantee. People have told me in the past, just go exploring, do a video outside, do this, do that. No, I don't want to reveal my location. I don't want it to get messy or awkward. And on top of it, when I have done exploring videos in the past, as nice as they may seem, I'm not performing. So what's the actual point in doing it then? Unless you're doing it all for yourself in a selfish way, then it shouldn't matter how the video performs. But if you're making videos partially for yourself, but more so for the audience, well, obviously you want it to do well because it's for people watching. And if it's not working, you're doing something wrong, or it's just not meant to be. So you've got to move on. So this is the thing, I'm realistic. I'm aware any second it can all go wrong and it can all die and flat out. I mean, you look, obviously not you, but I, because only I can see it. When I look at certain statistics on this channel, excluding views, because that is a little bit unrealistic because of the short videos which can generate views anyway. But when you look at the statistics on this channel, comparing it to the year of 2022 and even part of 2023, the channel statistics on my channel are probably at an all-time worse. It's not positive, not at all, but it is what it is. Maybe in time in the future something goes right, something goes well, but in the meantime it's very flat, very dull. Okay, that's why I'm just uploading a range of different videos here and there just to see what works, what doesn't, and also because I've just got a lot of shit and storage on my phone, and if I do get a new one or something, at some point I need to offload some of the data so it's easier to transfer. So here and there, some ASMR videos, and some people have said, well, do them, but they just don't work. And then people say, well, just create another channel. Yeah, create another channel on gaming, create another channel on ASMR, create another channel on music. That's too much to work with and handle. And as well, if any of those channels got struck for whatever reason, and the channel was terminated, every single channel assigned to that same email get taken down regardless. So it's pointless, it's meaningless. And on top of it, do you want to have multiple accounts, more than 2, 3, 4? Because then you've got to keep signing in and out of every one, you've got to maintain, and you've got to keep each one alive, right? That's a lot of work to do, and it's just a lot of juggling. Is it worth it? It's probably too time. You probably spend too much time doing it, probably not healthy. So, you know, you look at big YouTube channels, maybe there's some exceptions, right? Some people have a secondary channel, a gaming or a music, a singing channel, whatever it may be. Last time they uploaded was like 6 months ago, but they're doing all the main stuff on the main channel, right? So if people of that size and magnitude prioritize their main channel and neglect their secondary accounts, then, you know, someone like me, you know, you turn it on board. Just stick with one channel. If the algorithm wants to be awkward, screw it, okay? Why can't I make the YouTube algorithm my bitch? When will that happen? When can I whip the algorithm into submission? Will that ever happen? I hope so. But until that day comes, it's just kind of like experimenting and working out what works and what doesn't. Well, it's just balancing it out with some other perspectives and styles of format videos, short based or long form. And I think long form is the way to go, because when experimenting, if you are to look at watch time, average watch duration, a short video, people don't watch that much. A long video, people don't watch that much. It really doesn't matter. There's not really much of a difference there. I didn't see a positive correlation, so I might as well just stick with natural videos and how I do things, right? So not much change there. Obviously, live premieres and timing of it, that does differ nowadays just because I felt like it, and if I'm doing other stuff in the background, just pop in when I can. There we go. Now, I don't know if I said at the start of this video, I did earlier on with my other video, but once again, shout out to Christy, shout out to Cleo, shout out to Maria, shout out to Watch Your Crazy Badger, I think, Skeptical, of course, for their supporting the channel, and any other person that pops up in between supporting the channel. It's good of them. Just wanted to say that, okay? So I think we'll leave it there for now. This is just another little casual discussion video because there was things to talk about, and to be honest, the last one what I did and the one before that seems to work. You know, as time goes on, it seems like these videos in other ways may perform better than the actual big, hard-hitting stuff. Puts it all into perspective, doesn't it? Okay. So thanks for watching. Appreciate people's patience. See you next time whenever that is. Goodbye. Good night for now.